The glass walls of Vail Tower's executive floor reflected the Chicago skyline like a mirror. I stood outside Marcus Vail's office, tablet in hand, reviewing his schedule for the third time today. After 2 years as his personal secretary, I knew his routines by heart: the morning espresso at exactly 7:45, the conference calls he'd interrupt with demands, the way he snapped his fingers when he wanted something. Today felt different though. Heavier. Emma. Marcus's voice boomed through his office door. Get in here. Now. I smoothed my pencil skirt and entered. Marcus stood by the window, his reflection showing the same cold smile I'd learned to dread. Close the door. My pulse quickened. Those 3 words never meant anything good. The Whitmore contract, he said, turning to face me. I know you saw the numbers. The real ones. My throat tightened. Last week, I'd accidentally opened the wrong file, financial projections showing Marcus was defrauding Whitmore Industries of millions through falsified invoices. Sir, I don't know what you mean. Don't play stupid, Emma. He crossed the room in 3 strides. You opened that file for 47 seconds. IT tracks everything. Marcus leaned against his desk, arms crossed. That casual pose fooled most people. I knew better. Here's how this works, he said quietly. You forget what you saw. You keep your mouth shut. And you pray I don't decide you're a liability. Mr. Vail, I would never. Because if you do talk, Emma. His smile widened. Accidents happen. Your mother's care facility, St. Augustine's, right? Such an expensive place. Would be terrible if their funding got cut. If your mother had to be moved somewhere, less comfortable. The blood drained from my face. Mom had early onset Alzheimer's. St. Augustine's was the only place that treated her with dignity. You're threatening my mother? I'm explaining consequences. He returned to his desk. You're smart, Emma. You'll make the right choice. Now get out. And bring me coffee. The good stuff, not that break room garbage. I walked out on shaking legs, his words echoing in my mind. In the bathroom, I locked myself in a stall and called the only person I could trust. Dad? My voice cracked. I need help. Emma, what's wrong? Can you meet me? Today. It's urgent. Silence. Then, Moretti's Cafe. 1 hour. Come alone. Moretti's Cafe sat tucked in Little Italy, where tourists never ventured. Dad was already there, sitting in the back corner booth, his usual spot. At 72, Vincent Romano still commanded presence. Silver hair, sharp eyes, the kind of stillness that came from decades of making hard decisions. Piccola, he greeted me, using his old nickname. Little one. Tell me everything. I explained about the file, Marcus's threats, my mother's care facility. Dad's expression never changed, but his hands, weathered and scarred, curled slowly into fists. This man threatened your mother. My wife. Dad, I don't know what to do. If I report him, he'll destroy us. If I stay quiet, I'm helping him commit fraud. You do nothing. Dad's voice was steel. You go to work tomorrow like normal. You smile. You serve his coffee. And you let me handle Marcus Vail. Handle him how? Dad's eyes met mine. Not the gentle father who taught me to ride a bike. This was someone else. Someone I'd heard whispers about my whole life but never truly seen. Your old man has friends, Emma. Friends who remember favors. Friends who understand respect. He took my hand. You think I spent 50 years in this city without learning how power really works? That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Dad's words, his expression. Growing up, I'd heard stories, neighborhood kids whispering that Vincent Romano used to be someone important. Someone dangerous. Mom always dismissed it. Your father worked construction. That's all. But construction workers didn't have judges at their birthday parties. Didn't receive respectful nods from police captains. Didn't have senators call them for advice. I pulled out my laptop and typed, Vincent Romano, Chicago. Most results were recent, his charity work, his donations to St. Augustine's. Then I found an old Chicago Tribune article from 1985. Romano crime family suspected in downtown development scheme. I clicked the link. A grainy photo showed a younger version of Dad in an expensive suit, walking out of a courthouse. The article described him as Vincent the Architect Romano, alleged strategist for Chicago's organized crime families. Alleged. Never proven. The article mentioned how he'd disappeared from public life in 1990 after testifying in a closed-door federal hearing. No charges. No trial. Just gone. My phone buzzed. Dad. Tomorrow, take a personal day. Tell your boss you're sick. You and I have work to do. What kind of work? The kind that teaches billionaires about respect. Dad picked me up at 8. We drove to the industrial district, stopping at a brick building with no sign. Inside, the space looked nothing like the worn exterior, polished floors, leather furniture, walls lined with framed photographs. Photos of Dad with people I recognized. Governor Patricia Chin. Senator Marcus Holloway. Federal Judge Richard Tamblyn. Dad, what is this place? Where I used to work. He poured 2 cups of coffee. Before you were born, I helped people solve problems. Big problems. Politicians who needed protection. Businessmen who needed leverage. I built networks, Emma. Connections that don't just disappear. You were in the Mafia. I was a strategist. I never hurt anyone who didn't deserve it. Never touched civilians. I made sure powerful people understood that actions have consequences. He handed me a coffee. Then I walked away. Made a deal with the feds, complete testimony in exchange for immunity and a new life. I became nobody. Just Vincent Romano, construction worker. Why are you telling me this now? Because Marcus Vail needs to learn what your old man already knows, power without respect means nothing. Footsteps echoed. A silver-haired woman in an elegant suit descended the stairs. I recognized her immediately. Governor Patricia Chin. She embraced Dad like family. Vincent. It's been too long. Governor Chin sat across from us, her expression serious. Emma, your father saved my daughter 15 years ago. Someone tried to blackmail me using photos of her. Vincent made the problem disappear, quietly, legally, permanently. I've kept that favor in my pocket, Dad said. Now I'm cashing it in. Chen pulled out her phone. Marcus Vail. Vail Tech Industries. What do you need? Everything. His business dealings, his political connections, anything that's not clean. Give me 48 hours. Chen stood. Vincent, I owe you my career. Consider this the beginning of repayment. After she left, Dad explained his strategy. We don't fight Marcus Vail with violence. We dismantle him legally, systematically, publicly. We show him that threatening the wrong person's daughter has consequences he never imagined. How? By reminding Chicago's powerful people who I used to be. And making sure they remember that my daughter, he touched my face gently, is under my protection. Over the next week, Dad made calls. Quiet conversations with people I'd only seen on television. Each one owed him something. Each one agreed to help. You built a network based on favors? I asked. Based on respect. I helped people when they had nowhere else to turn. Now they help me. Dad's friend Thomas Chen, the governor's husband and a retired federal prosecutor, met us at a discreet law office. He spread documents across the conference table. Marcus Vail is dirty, Thomas confirmed. Vail Tech's expansion was funded through securities fraud, falsified financial statements, and offshore accounts disguised as consulting fees. My hands shook as I reviewed the evidence. How did you get this? The SEC has been investigating Vail for months. They just needed one more piece, someone with inside knowledge willing to testify. Dad looked at me. That's you, Piccola. You saw those files. You're the witness they need. Marcus will destroy me. He'll come after Mom. He'll try, Dad said calmly. But he won't succeed. Because the moment you file that report, Marcus Vail becomes my problem. And I solve problems very thoroughly. Thomas handed me a card. This is the SEC investigator handling the case. Agent Rebecca Morrison. She's expecting your call. I stared at the card. Making this call would change everything. What if I'm wrong? What if he really does hurt Mom? Dad's expression hardened. I spent 50 years making sure people understood one rule: you don't touch family. Marcus Vail is about to learn that rule the hard way. I called Agent Morrison from Dad's secure office. She arrived within an hour, sharp suit, sharper eyes. Miss Romano, I understand you have information about Marcus Vail's business practices. For 2 hours, I told her everything. The falsified Whitmore contract. The offshore accounts I'd glimpsed. The way Marcus threatened anyone who questioned him. Morrison took meticulous notes. This corroborates what we already suspected. But we need hard evidence, the actual files you saw. I can't access them anymore. Marcus changed all the passwords after he threatened me. What if someone could get you back in? Dad asked. Morrison's eyes narrowed. Mr. Romano, we can't condone illegal access to. What if Emma still had legitimate access? She's still Vail's secretary. If she went to work tomorrow, used her credentials, and happened to send certain files to her personal email, that would be legal, wouldn't it? If done during normal work duties, yes. Morrison leaned forward. Miss Romano, would you be willing to do that? My pulse raced. Go back there? After he threatened me? You wouldn't be alone, Dad said. I'd be watching. And trust me, Emma, Marcus Vail won't lay a finger on you. The next morning, I returned to Vail Tower. My hands trembled as I swiped my security badge. The elevator ride to the executive floor felt eternal. Marcus looked up when I entered, surprise flickering across his face. Emma. I expected you to quit. I need this job, Mr. Vail. I kept my voice steady. My mother's care isn't cheap. His smile was predatory. Smart girl. Now bring me coffee and let's never speak of our conversation again. While Marcus was in meetings, I accessed his private server. My credentials still worked, he'd been too arrogant to revoke them, confident his threats had worked. I downloaded everything. Financial statements. Email chains discussing the Whitmore fraud. Documents showing offshore accounts. All of it copied to a secure cloud drive Agent Morrison had provided. My phone buzzed. Dad, texting from the coffee shop across the street where he'd been watching. Got everything. Get out. Now. I grabbed my purse and stood. Marcus's office door opened. Where are you going? Bathroom, sir. His eyes narrowed. You're acting strange. I'm just tired. Show me your phone. My heart stopped. Excuse me? Your phone. Now. He stepped closer. You've been typing for 20 minutes. Show me what you sent. Before I could respond, Marcus's desk phone rang. He glanced at it, annoyed. Don't move, he ordered, then answered. What? I watched his face change. Confusion. Then concern. When? How many? He looked at me, eyes hardening. I'll call you back. He hung up slowly. The SEC just arrived downstairs with a warrant. Federal agents are searching my office right now. I backed toward the door. Mr. Vale. You did this. He moved toward me. You stupid little. The office door burst open. Agent Morrison entered with 2 federal marshals. Marcus Vale, you're under arrest for securities fraud, wire fraud, and witness intimidation. Marcus lunged toward me. The marshals intercepted him, forcing him against his desk. You have no idea who you're dealing with. Marcus screamed at me. I'll bury you. I'll destroy your entire family. No, a calm voice said from the doorway. You won't. Dad walked in, hands in his pockets, moving with quiet authority. He crossed the room and stood beside me. Mr. Vale, my name is Vincent Romano. You threatened my daughter. You threatened my wife. That was a mistake. Marcus's face went pale. Romano? Vincent Romano? I see my reputation preceded me. Marcus was led away in handcuffs, still screaming threats. Agent Morrison approached us. Miss Romano, your testimony and the evidence you provided will be crucial to prosecution. Thank you for your courage. After she left, I collapsed into Marcus's chair, adrenaline finally crashing. Dad, how did you coordinate all of this? Years of practice. He poured water from Marcus's bar. I made calls. The SEC was already investigating, but they needed a push. Governor Chen made sure that push came at exactly the right moment. What happens now? Now Marcus Vale learns what everyone in this city learned 30 years ago, Vincent Romano's family is untouchable. Over the next week, Vale Tech collapsed. Board members resigned. Investors fled. Federal prosecutors seized assets. But Marcus wasn't finished. From jail, he hired private investigators. Within days, they traced my connection to Dad. Old newspaper articles surfaced, Vincent, the architect Romano, and his alleged mob connections. Marcus's lawyers tried using it in court. The investigation was orchestrated by organized crime. It didn't work. Every action had been legal. Every warrant properly obtained. Dad hadn't broken a single law. But the media ran wild with the story. Former mob boss takes down billionaire. Reporters camped outside our house. Dad handled them with his usual calm, issuing a simple statement, I'm a retired construction worker who helped his daughter report corporate fraud. That's all. But the pressure mounted. My phone rang constantly. Job offers from law firms wanting the Mafia secretary. Threats from Marcus's supporters. Curiosity seekers wanting to hear about the architect. I changed my number 3 times. Then Dad got a call from an old friend, Judge Richard Tamblyn. They met at Moretti's Cafe. I insisted on joining. Vincent, the judge said, Marcus Vale's attorneys are trying to discredit the entire investigation by focusing on your past. They're filing motions claiming Emma was coerced by her mob boss father into fabricating evidence. But everything I provided was real, I protested. I know. But perception matters. Marcus's team is good, they're creating doubt. Tamblyn slid documents across the table. However, I have something that might help. Marcus Vale's father, Jonathan Vale, was under investigation 30 years ago. For working with organized crime to secure construction contracts. Dad and I exchanged glances. The same time period you were active, Tamblyn continued. In fact, Vincent, you worked with Jonathan Vale on several projects. He was a client, Dad confirmed. I helped him navigate union negotiations. Then you knew he was corrupt. I knew a lot of people were corrupt. That's why I walked away. Tamblyn explained the bigger picture. Jonathan Vale built his empire through exactly the kind of connections Marcus is now claiming discredited your daughter. The irony is perfect. Can we use this in court? I asked. It's already public record. But it might help counter the narrative Marcus is building. Dad was quiet, his expression thoughtful. There's something else. Marcus threatened Emma's mother, my wife. In writing. Do we have that recording? I pulled out my phone. The day Marcus threatened me, I'd been so scared I'd started recording on my phone in my pocket. I'd caught everything. Agent Morrison's eyes widened when I played it for her. This is clear witness intimidation. This changes everything. The recording went to prosecutors. Marcus's lawyers tried to suppress it, claiming it was illegal. But Illinois is a one-party consent state. I had every right to record my own conversation. When the recording played in court, the jury's reaction was immediate. Disgust. Anger. This wasn't a misunderstood businessman. This was a bully who threatened a sick woman. Marcus's support crumbled overnight. But he still had one card to play. From jail, Marcus hired someone to dig into Dad's past. Not just newspaper articles. Actual investigation into cases from 30 years ago. They found Vincent Romano's FBI file. Heavily redacted, but still damaging. Evidence of Dad's involvement in protection rackets, union manipulation, even allegations of witness intimidation. Your father is exactly what I am, Marcus told his lawyers. A criminal. Difference is, he never got caught. Marcus's team filed a motion to dismiss all charges, claiming the entire investigation was orchestrated by a known mob figure using his daughter as a pawn. The hearing was scheduled for next week. I found Dad in his garage workshop, working on an old chair. They're going to destroy us with your past. Maybe. He didn't look up. Or maybe it's time people understood the difference between what I was and what Marcus is. What difference? I hurt people who deserved it. Protected neighborhoods. Made sure the powerful didn't crush the weak. He set down his tools. Marcus Vail hurts anyone in his way. He's not a businessman. He's a bully with a bank account. That won't hold up in court. No. But the truth will. He pulled out a thick folder. I kept records, Emma. Everything I ever did. Who I helped. Who I stopped. Why I walked away. Why? Insurance. And proof that not all power corrupts the same way. The hearing arrived. Marcus's lawyers painted Dad as a criminal mastermind who'd manipulated his innocent daughter into destroying a legitimate businessman. Then the prosecution called its witness. Senator Marcus Holloway took the stand. I've known Vincent Romano for 45 years, Holloway testified. He saved my life in 1982 when rival gangs tried to kill me for refusing to take bribes. Vincent could have let me die. Instead, he protected me. That's the kind of man he is. Governor Chin testified next. Vincent Romano helped me when the system failed my family. He never asked for payment. Just said someday I might be able to help someone else. Judge Tamblyn testified about how Dad had provided evidence that convicted corrupt police officers. One by one, people Dad had helped decades ago came forward. Not criminals. Not mob bosses. People he protected from those in power. The narrative shifted. Yes, Dad had operated outside the law. But he'd done so to help people the system ignored. Marcus's lawyers had no response. Their client was being destroyed by their own strategy. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. Guilty on all counts. Marcus's face went white as verdicts were read. Securities fraud. Wire fraud. Witness intimidation. Money laundering. Sentencing was set for 6 weeks later. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed Dad. Mr. Romano, how do you feel about being called a hero? I'm not a hero. I'm a father who protected his daughter. That's all. What about the allegations of organized crime? I did things I'm not proud of. But I never claimed to be perfect. I claimed to be honest about my mistakes. He looked directly into the cameras. Marcus Vail has spent months trying to paint me as the villain. But at least I admit what I was. He's still pretending to be something he's not. That soundbite played everywhere. Dad's honesty versus Marcus's denials. Public opinion shifted completely. We weren't criminals. We were a family who'd stood up to corruption. Job offers poured in. Not circus offers, legitimate positions. Corporate ethics firms. Whistleblower protection agencies. Law firms specializing in employee rights. But I wasn't ready to decide. I needed time to process everything that had happened. Dad and I drove to St. Augustine's to visit Mom. The facility's director greeted us warmly. Miss Romano, your mother's care has been secured for the next 10 years. An anonymous donor covered all costs. I looked at Dad. He smiled innocently. Dad, where did you get? I've been saving for 50 years, Piccola. What's the point of having money if I can't use it to protect my family? Mom was in the garden, reading. Her face lit up when she saw us, though I could see the confusion in her eyes. She knew us, but couldn't quite place how. Vincent, she said. Is that you? It's me, Cara. Dad kissed her forehead. And Emma. My beautiful girl. She hugged me. Did you just finish school? I swallowed tears. Yes, Mama. Just finished. We sat with her for hours, Dad holding her hand, telling stories she'd forgotten. This was why he'd done everything. Not for revenge. Not for power. For family. As we left, Mom called after us. Vincent? Thank you for protecting us. Dad froze. For just a moment, Mom's eyes were clear. Aware. Always, Maria, he whispered. Always. Marcus's sentencing arrived. The courtroom packed with press, investors, former employees, everyone he'd hurt. The prosecution recommended 20 years. Marcus's lawyers begged for leniency. Your Honor, Marcus's attorney argued, my client made mistakes, but he's not a violent criminal. He deserves a second chance. Judge Tamblyn, who'd recused himself given his friendship with Dad, replaced by Judge Patricia Morrison, looked down at Marcus. Mr. Vale, you had every advantage. Wealth. Education. Opportunity. Instead of using those gifts responsibly, you chose to threaten, defraud, and abuse anyone in your path. She listed his victims. The investors who lost millions. The employees he'd fired to hide his crimes. The contractors he'd bankrupted. 25 years in federal prison. No parole for the first 15. Marcus's face crumbled. 25 years. He'd be 73 when released, if he survived. As marshals led him away, he looked at me one last time. Not with anger. With something worse. Understanding. He'd finally grasped that his power had been an illusion, built on fear and money. Real power, the kind Dad had, came from respect and loyalty earned over decades. The VIA initiative launched 3 months later. A non-profit foundation I'd created using settlement money from Vailteca's bankruptcy proceedings. We helped whistleblowers navigate legal systems. Protected families of people who stood up to corporate corruption. Funded legal defense for employees facing retaliation. Our first case was helping a young accountant who discovered fraud at his company. His boss had threatened him exactly like Marcus threatened me. We provided lawyers, protection, and support. 6 months later, his boss was indicted. You saved my life, the accountant told me at trial. I thought I was alone. You're never alone. Not anymore. Word spread. People came to us from across the country. Corporate fraud. Wage theft. Workplace harassment. Every case where someone powerless needed help against someone powerful. Dad helped too, using his old networks to gather evidence, make connections, ensure protection. Not through violence, through information and relationships. This is what I should have done from the beginning, he said one evening at Moretti's. Used what I knew to help people legally instead of operating in shadows. You did help people, Dad. Just differently. Maybe. But this feels cleaner. He smiled. Your mother would be proud. A year after Marcus's conviction, Dad got a diagnosis. Pancreatic cancer. Stage 4. 6 months, maybe. The news shattered me. Dad, there has to be treatment. There is. But it won't change the outcome. Just prolong things. He took my hand. I've lived a full life, Emma. Longer than I deserved. I'm ready. I'm not ready to lose you. You won't lose me. Everything I built, everyone who owes me favors, every lesson I taught you, that all stays. You're my legacy. He spent his remaining months teaching me everything. Names of contacts. Where documents were hidden. How to read people, identify threats, protect those who needed help. Power isn't about fear, he explained one afternoon. It's about understanding human nature. What people want. What they fear. How to give them what they need instead of what they think they want. How did you learn all this? By making mistakes. By hurting people I shouldn't have. By finally understanding that real strength is choosing mercy when you could choose violence. Governor Chen visited. Senator Holloway. Judge Tamblyn. People I'd never met, former clients, people Dad had helped decades ago. They came to pay respects to the architect. The man who'd helped them when no one else could. Dad passed quietly one Tuesday morning, holding Mom's hand. She didn't understand, but she knew something important was happening. Tears ran down her face as nurses gently separated them. The funeral was small. Family. Close friends. The people who truly knew Vincent Romano, not the architect, but the man who'd walked away from power to become a father. Governor Chen gave a eulogy. Vincent taught me that redemption isn't about forgetting your past. It's about using your past to create a better future. Senator Holloway spoke next. He saved my life and never asked for anything in return. That's real power. I couldn't speak. The weight of losing him was too much. Afterward, at the burial, a young man approached. Maybe 25, nervous. Miss Romano? I'm Daniel Vale. Marcus's son. My blood went cold. What do you want? To apologize. For my father. For everything. His eyes filled with tears. I saw what he did to you, your mother. I saw the recordings. He's not the man I thought he was. Why are you telling me this? Because I want to help. With your foundation. I have access to my father's files, documents he hid from prosecutors. Evidence of other people doing what he did. I studied him carefully. Why would you betray your father? He taught me that power matters more than people. Your father taught me I was wrong. Daniel handed me a USB drive. Everything's here. Use it however you want. Daniel's files exposed a network of corporate fraud across Chicago. CEOs, board members, financial advisors, all using the same schemes Marcus had. The VIA initiative worked with federal prosecutors. Over the next year, 12 executives were indicted. Hundreds of millions returned to defrauded investors and employees. Daniel joined our foundation. His insider knowledge of corporate structures proved invaluable. Together, we built something neither of our fathers could have imagined, a bridge between their worlds. My father destroyed people for profit, Daniel said during a press conference. Emma's father protected people when systems failed. I want to be more like Vincent Romano than Marcus Vale. That quote went viral. The son of a corrupt billionaire choosing integrity over wealth. But not everyone was happy. Marcus, from prison, raged. You betrayed your own family. Daniel visited him once. I went along for support. Marcus looked smaller behind plexiglass. Prison had aged him. You turned on me, he said to Daniel. Your own father. You taught me to, Dad. You showed me that family doesn't matter. Only power. Daniel's voice was steady. So I chose to follow someone with real power. Vincent Romano. He's more of a father than you ever were. Marcus lunged at the plexiglass. Guards intervened. As we left, Daniel wiped his eyes. Is it supposed to hurt this much? Doing the right thing? Yes, I said. But it gets easier. My dad taught me that. 2 years after Dad's death, I received a call from St. Augustine's. Mom had passed peacefully in her sleep. The grief was different this time. Softer. She'd been slipping away for years. Her death felt like mercy, not tragedy. At her funeral, I spoke. My mother taught me kindness. My father taught me strength. Together, they showed me that you need both to change the world. The VIA initiative had grown. 50 employees. Offices in 3 cities. Hundreds of cases won. We become what Dad had always wanted, legitimate power used for good. But I still missed him. Especially on hard cases. The ones where bad people seemed untouchable. One evening, working late at Moretti's cafe, which I'd bought to preserve Dad's memory, I received an envelope. No return address. Inside was a letter in Dad's handwriting. Emma, if you're reading this, I'm gone. But you're not alone. Everything I built, everyone I helped, they're yours now. Use them wisely. Use them justly. And remember, real power isn't about control. It's about knowing when to fight and when to forgive. I love you, Piccola. Forever. Dad. Tears blurred my vision. Even in death, he was still teaching me. 5 years after Marcus's conviction, he was eligible for parole. The hearing was scheduled. I attended. Not to oppose, to observe. Marcus had changed. Prison had stripped away his arrogance. He looked like what he'd always been beneath the suits, a scared man who'd used cruelty to hide weakness. Miss Romano, he said when given the chance. I know apologies mean nothing. But I am sorry. For threatening you. For hurting people. For being so blind to what real strength looks like. What is real strength, Mr. Vale? Your father. He could have destroyed me violently. Instead, he dismantled me legally. He proved that the system works when good people refuse to be silent. Marcus's voice cracked. I spent my whole life chasing power. He spent his protecting people. He was everything I should have been. The parole board denied his release. Too soon. Too many victims. But as I left, I felt something unexpected. Not satisfaction. Understanding. Marcus Vale had been taught wrong. Raised by a corrupt father. Rewarded for cruelty. Never shown a better way. Dad had been taught the same way, but he'd chosen differently. That's what separated them. Choice. 10 years after Dad's death, I stood in the Romano Center, formerly Vale Tower, purchased by the VIA initiative and converted into a headquarters for corporate ethics, whistleblower protection, and employee advocacy. The building where I'd been threatened now housed the largest organization fighting corporate corruption in the country. I looked out at Chicago's skyline, thinking about Dad. About Marcus. About all the people we'd helped. My phone buzzed. Daniel. Emma, we just got contacted by a secretary in New York. Her boss threatened her family. She has evidence of massive fraud. But she's scared. Tell her we're on our way. As I grabbed my coat, I passed Dad's photo in the lobby. Not a stern portrait, a candid shot of him smiling at Moretti's, coffee in hand. Underneath, a plaque, Vincent the Architect Romano. He taught us that redemption is possible. That power should protect, not destroy. That respect matters more than fear. I touched the frame gently. I'm still learning, Dad. Still trying to live up to what you taught me. Outside, Chicago bustled with life. Somewhere in this city, someone needed help. Someone was being threatened by someone powerful. But they weren't alone anymore. Because Dad had taught me the most important lesson, real power isn't about controlling people. It's about empowering them to stand up for themselves. Marcus Vale had learned that lesson too late, in a prison cell. I'd learned it from the best teacher, a former mob boss who'd chosen redemption over revenge, justice over vengeance, family over everything. And now I'd spend the rest of my life passing that lesson forward. One threatened secretary at a time. One corrupt billionaire at a time. One family protected at a time. That's what the architect would have wanted. That's what real power looks like.